Hey everybody, how you doing? My name is Gavin Brooks. I'm a metal guitar player, musician, and guitar teacher. I saw Rick Beato's recent video. I think he calls it like 3 exercises that will transform your playing. His interviews are priceless, so like infinite thank you and praise to Rick Beato, period, end of story. But just going to chime in with a few thoughts on ways maybe I wish he explained things a little further in his guitar videos, and hopefully bridging the gap for some of you people who do watch these videos and don't totally understand why Rick is doing what he's doing. If we look at the first exercise that he shows, he's going through triads in the key of E major. And these types of triads are just like what we'd see in a bar chord. So we could be playing, for example, E major bar chord, F sharp minor bar chord, G sharp minor bar chord, A major, B major, C sharp minor, D sharp diminished, E major. Those are the chords in our key of E major. You could also call it the key of C sharp minor, same universe. These shapes really just come from the bar chord. You can think of it as the first, fifth, and third interval. So you can see this first shape he does, E major. He obviously does the same shape when he gets to A major and B major, because they're the same triad, they're just major triads. Similar deal when we look at F sharp minor and C sharp minor. But then that leaves 2 final shapes that Rick played. I know there's been so much build up to get there. Instead of playing this G sharp minor, he plays this chord, which he ends up having to call E over G sharp, which is what you would name it, I suppose. You could also see this as, instead of using the 5th, 1st, 5th, and 3rd from G sharp phrygian, that's the scale where these notes are coming from that builds the chord in the key. Instead of using the 5th, 1, 5, 3, he uses 1, 6, 3, which here, honestly, you could say maybe it's trying to keep the major tonality to mean we just want as majory a sound as possible. Here's an E major. We get a little minor, but then more major, more bright sounding than E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor. That's the traditional expected triad if we're going through them one at a time. It makes more sense, too, why he does it at the diminished location, this 7th scale degree of E major, because instead of playing 1, flat 5, minor 3rd, a diminished triad, he plays the same thing. This 1 looks like a minor 6th, and then that 3rd, you think of it as from the Locrian scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That 6th note, that note that's not what we expect, is where he's saying the chord begins, that this is the real 1, and then this is now the 5 of that chord, 1 to 5, and then the slash just means we put a note in the bass, which happens to be the note that we were expecting from this onward trajectory. So if that's still a bit confusing for you, I'm sorry. Hopefully tried to distill it down. You can check out my theory course, try to teach theory in a practical way there. I just think, man, for the people who don't get this, this is probably confusing. Why we're going, oh, it's triads, and then they go, well, what the hell is a slash chord? Why aren't we just playing? I thought this was the triad for the 3rd position in E major. Next exercise, I love it. He's doing some kind of something like this. It's classic. Less complaints here. The only thing now that's a little weird with this exercise is the technique of it. So on this first one, he shows you, okay, I'm going to do it with my ring finger to pinky, which is fine. You can do it that way. But he puts it in contrast to, oh, I'm doing that to avoid barring with my pinky. I would not even necessarily recommend barring your pinky, but the way he shows it off, and he basically trashes on barring with your pinky, I just think it's not fair to barring.
Second thing is, I'm not using any bars. So here, I'm going to my 3rd finger. I could have gone. That's very awkward.
He bars by going, kind of jumping up. I'm being egregiously exaggerative there with the way he jumped up. But if you were expecting to go from this note to this note with a bar, you wouldn't finger this note like a normal note. You would finger it a little high up, so you could actually roll is the technique. Look, there it is. There's a clean pinky roll. It's fine, just like all the other fingers that we use. The weirdest thing about this all, though, is that Rick Beato puts a dichotomy between, oh, you're either doing ring to pinky, hopping the fingers back and forth, which is cool, or you're rolling, whereas all the people I've seen play this go, no, don't play this note here, play it on the previous string so there's no rolling or uncomfortable fingering. Which is just another one of my beefs with guitar stuff in general, is that we seem to like ignore that you can finger things conveniently for guitar. So moving on to his final exercise, where he's moving basically from dominant chord to dominant chord in this endless relationship of fifths, or you could think of it as fourths going backwards, circle of fifths type of thing. The thing that's weird on guitar about doing any kind of circle of fifths exercise is that we're just running into the same shapes over and over again. And you'll notice this when Rick explains the movement through the keys, is that he's using, hey, there's a shape for a dominant chord. There's a different shape, and then wait, oh, same shape, same shape, same shape, same shape. And it's the same thing if we arpeggiate it. Rick arpeggiates it in a certain way in the exercise he shows you. But for example, if I just went 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, I don't consider this a great exercise for my theory brain because it's just very clearly moving the same type of structure around. Because on guitar, playing in one key is a lot harder than playing the same idea from one key in a new key. Because it's just not the way the guitar is laid out. And I assume most of you know that. So in his exercise, too, when he actually does his motif, when he starts with like E7, I wish you would explain what he's actually doing. That like, oh, I'm doing the intervals 3, 5, 1, 7. The ingredients of a dominant chord. 1 major, 3rd, perfect 5th, and that minor 7th. And then he continues, mostly doing a similar shape. But the thing is, as the trajectory of it goes on, there's other times where he's playing a different set of intervals. He's playing 3, 1, 5, 7. Still the ingredients of a dominant chord, but in a different order. Then there's this one piece that's not even, it's using a note outside of the dominant chord and it doesn't get borrowed. When he's playing what he claims is A flat, dominant 7, A flat 7, he adds in this 2. So it's going 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 7. It's fine. It's in terms of the sense of, hey, learn this. This is a cool etude. This is a cool piece. It is cool. Music, it sounds cool. But what is the goal of it? Is it helping me with technique? Is it helping me with theory? Because if it's helping me with theory, like the first triad exercise, why wouldn't I just use the actual triads that I'm more likely to see in a song compared to the slash chords? In the case of this dominant thing, why wouldn't I practice moving through arpeggios in the key? Because that's kind of way more useful on guitar than switching from one dominant to another dominant to another dominant. Like that seems like a very high level niche skill. Anyway, I gotta run because I literally have a lesson in like 2 minutes. But thank you for watching. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think.